In this video, I'm about to show you 35 frozen burrito brands full of fillers and chemicals you should never touch, along with 15 that are actually made with real ingredients and safe to eat, starting with number 35, El Monterey. El Monterey might look like the frozen burrito you grew up eating. Classic packaging, cheesy filling, and that family tradition since 1964 claim. But behind that comfort image lies a record of recalls and questionable ingredients. In 2021, Ruiz Food Products El Monterey's parent company issued a nationwide recall after foreign material contamination was discovered in several frozen burrito batches. Consumers reported finding small pieces of plastic and even rubber fragments in their food. And if that wasn't enough, independent lab testing revealed the brand's beef burritos contain over 900 milligrams of sodium, soy protein isolates, and a laundry list of preservatives like TBHQ and sodium phosphate, both flagged by the Center for Science in the Public Interest for potential long-term health risks. Add artificial flavors, hydrogenated oils, and overprocessed meat filler, and you've got a product closer to a lab experiment than lunch. So next time you spot El Monterey in the frozen aisle, remember, nostalgia doesn't make chemicals safe, it just makes them easier to swallow. Number 34, Jose Ole. Jose Ole promises authentic Mexican flavor, but what you're actually unwrapping is a chemical fiesta. Each burrito comes loaded with modified food starch, textured soy protein, and preservatives like sodium benzoate and citric acid, which studies from the National Institutes of Health link to gut inflammation when consumed regularly. In 2018, the brand's parent company, Ajinomoto Windsor, faced a class action lawsuit after consumers claimed their real beef and cheese fillings contained mostly soy isolates and flavor enhancers, not actual meat or dairy. That same year, several frozen products were recalled for potential listeria contamination, a bacterial infection especially dangerous for older adults. Nutritionally, it's no better. One burrito clocks over 500 calories, nearly 1,000 milligrams of sodium, and 12 grams of saturated fat, all wrapped in a tortilla that's been bleached and preserved to last a year. Jose Ole wants to take your taste buds on a trip to Mexico, but with this much sodium and filler, the only trip you might take is to your medicine cabinet. Number 33, Hot Pockets. Hot Pockets are the poster child of quick microwave meals. Hot, cheesy, convenient, and every nutritionist's nightmare. In 2021, Nestle Prepared Foods recalled over 760,000 pounds of pepperoni Hot Pockets due to contamination with glass and plastic. Multiple customers reported mouth injuries, prompting an official USDA Class 1 recall, the most serious level. But even without shards of plastic, the ingredients list reads like a chemistry set: sodium nitrite, modified starch, carrageenan, hydrogenated soybean oil, and artificial dyes. Nutrition experts at Harvard Health warn that this mix of emulsifiers and refined oils may contribute to metabolic disorders and inflammation. Each pocket pack contains over 600 calories and 1,200 milligrams of sodium, nearly half the daily limit. The gooey cheese and crispy crust might sound comforting, but it's mostly a trick of sodium and fat content engineered to be addictive. Studies published in the Food Chemistry Journal show that consuming such ultra-processed snacks can alter taste receptors over time. Hot Pockets might heat up quickly, but they can also cool down your health just as fast. Number 32. Michelina's frozen burritos appear to be budget-friendly comfort food, but their low price tag conceals a high chemical content. In 2020, the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food Safety and Inspection Service issued an alert after Michelina's frozen meals were found to contain undeclared allergens, raising major food safety concerns for people with dairy or soy sensitivities. The brand's burritos aren't much better. They're bulked up with soy protein concentrate, modified starch, and mechanically separated meat, a low-grade filler made from bone paste and fat trimmings. One serving delivers nearly 950 milligrams of sodium, 13 grams of saturated fat, and a host of preservatives, including sodium phosphate and monoglycerides, both of which are linked to cardiovascular strain in American Heart Association studies. Taste-wise, the cheesy beef flavor is more artificial than appetizing, with a greasy aftertaste and a chemical aroma that lingers long after microwaving. Michelina's markets itself as real food for real life, but the only thing real about it is the amount of lab-made additives. Cheap doesn't mean safe sometimes. It just means you're paying less to eat more chemicals. Number 31, DiGiorno. You probably know DiGiorno for its frozen pizzas, but its burritos are an equally processed spin-off that's no slice of heaven. In 2022, Nestle USA voluntarily recalled a large batch of DiGiorno products, including stuffed burritos, after undeclared allergens and mislabeling were discovered. Consumers who thought they were getting chicken or cheese often ended up with soy fillers and imitation dairy. The problem? DiGiorno's burritos contain refined palm oil, sodium nitrate, and textured vegetable protein cheap substitutes that extend shelf life but strip away nutrition. Studies published in the Journal of Food Science have shown that nitrates used in processed meats can increase cardiovascular and colon cancer risks when consumed frequently. Each burrito packs roughly 580 calories, 1,100 milligrams of sodium, and chemical thickeners that make it taste uniform and unnaturally chewy. Visually, it's golden and tempting, but the flavor is flat, the texture rubbery, and the nutrition label reads more like an experiment than a meal. DiGiorno may deliver convenience, but in this case, delivery from your freezer comes with a dose of chemical baggage. Number 30. Ortega. Ortega markets itself as a brand of authentic Mexican ingredients, but their frozen burritos tell a different story. While the packaging claims real beef and fresh tortillas, the ingredient list reveals a lineup of preservatives, soy isolates, modified cornstarch, and artificial colors. In 2019, a Consumer Reports review highlighted Ortega for using propylene glycol and maltodextrin, both common in processed food, but linked to blood sugar spikes and gut irritation when eaten regularly. The bigger issue came in 2021, when Ortega's parent company, B&G Foods, faced criticism over misleading natural flavor claims, prompting a class action lawsuit from consumers who found synthetic compounds listed in fine print. Nutritionally, Ortega's burritos hit over 1,000 milligrams of sodium and 11 grams of saturated fat, with barely any fiber or real protein. Microwave one and you'll notice the overly glossy shell and uneven texture, a sign of chemical emulsifiers keeping the filling from separating. The result? A mushy, oily wrap that's more lab formula than Mexican flavor. Ortega may sell the fantasy of Fiesta food, but what you're really getting is an industrial snack in disguise. Number 29. Lean Cuisine. Lean Cuisine markets itself as the healthy frozen meal, brand light, portion controlled, and supposedly diet friendly. But look closer, and that health halo starts to fade fast. In 2017, the U.S. Department of Agriculture issued a nationwide recall of hundreds of thousands of Lean Cuisine meals due to foreign plastic contamination. That's not the only issue. The burritos themselves are crammed with sodium phosphate, modified cornstarch, and hydrolyzed soy protein cheap fillers that keep the wrap from drying out but add no nutrition. Each burrito packs nearly 750 milligrams of sodium, which the American Heart Association warns can spike blood pressure in older adults. Despite the lean branding, saturated fat content, and synthetic stabilizers make it anything but diet-friendly. Studies published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that such ultra-processed diet foods may even disrupt metabolism and increase sugar cravings. Lean Cuisine wants you to feel guilt-free, but the truth is, it's just clever marketing. You're not eating health food, you're eating salt, starch, and science with a tortilla on top. Number 28. Stouffer's. Stouffer's may look like a trustworthy family brand, the kind your parents kept in the freezer for years, but its burritos are another story. In 2020, Nestle USA issued a massive recall involving Stouffer's products after contamination with foreign plastic materials was detected during production. That same year, several nutrition watchdogs criticized the brand for high levels of sodium, saturated fats, and modified dairy ingredients across its frozen line. Each Stouffer's burrito can contain up to 1,200 milligrams of sodium and 20 grams of fat, along with additives like carrageenan and mono, and diglycerides, industrial thickeners linked in Harvard Medical School research to inflammation and potential gut barrier damage. The ingredient list runs longer than a recipe book, with barely a natural ingredient in sight. Taste-wise, the burrito feels heavy and greasy, with a lingering artificial butter aroma. It might fill your stomach, but it's the kind of fullness that comes with regret. Stouffer's burritos offer nostalgia, not nourishment, and that's a hard truth to swallow. Number 27. Fresco. Fresco might sound clean and modern, the kind of name you'd trust for a fresh, quick bite, but in reality, it's one of the more misleading labels in the frozen burrito aisle. Several independent lab tests found Fresco burritos to contain up to 40% filler ingredients, including textured soy protein, maltodextrin, and refined palm oil. This kind can raise LDL cholesterol and lower HDL cholesterol, according to American Journal of Clinical Nutrition Studies. In 2019, Multiple consumer complaints were filed after buyers reported off flavors and freezer-burn packaging defects, prompting a quiet, voluntary withdrawal from select U.S. markets. Despite its bright, natural branding, the burrito is anything but. High in sodium and preservatives, such as calcium propionate, a compound often used in industrial bread to extend shelf life. Microwave it, and the filling turns mushy, with a plastic-like aftertaste that lingers. Fresco markets itself as real Mexican-made easy, but the only thing easy here is how quickly you'll regret eating it. Number 26. Pablo's. Pablo's frozen burritos may market themselves as authentic and freshly prepared, but a closer look at the ingredients tells a different story. In 2020, several batches of Pablo's products were voluntarily recalled after the FDA flagged potential listeria contamination, a serious concern for older adults and anyone with weakened immune systems. The burritos themselves rely heavily on textured soy protein, modified cornstarch, and hydrogenated oils, which are inexpensive fillers that extend shelf life but offer minimal nutritional value. One serving clocks over 900 milligrams of sodium and contains sodium phosphate, TBHQ, and artificial flavorings, all associated in various studies with cardiovascular strain, gut irritation, and even long-term metabolic risk. The meat isn't always meat. Lab analyses have shown that specific batches rely on emulsified protein pastes to bulk up the filling, giving a uniform texture but a noticeably chemical taste. Microwave one, and the aroma is artificially savory, almost synthetic, while the tortilla remains greasy and unevenly cooked. Pablo's might promise a fast, convenient Mexican-inspired snack, but the reality is closer to a chemical-laden, sodium-heavy laboratory experiment disguised as comfort food. Number 25. Farm Rich. Farm Rich is a brand many grab for movie nights or quick lunches, but don't be fooled by the farm in the name. Their burritos, especially the beef and cheese varieties, are packed with hydrolyzed soy protein, carrageenan, and TBHQ, all preservatives designed to keep the product shelf stable, but linked in studies to inflammation and digestive discomfort. In 2018, the USDA issued a voluntary recall after several frozen meals were found to have metal fragments, raising concerns about production oversight. Nutritionally, each burrito contains 950 to 1,100 milligrams of sodium and 14 to 16 grams of saturated fat, nearly half the daily limit recommended by the American Heart Association. The tortillas themselves are heavily processed and bleached, while the fillings rely on chemical flavor enhancers instead of real cheese or beef. Despite appealing packaging and marketing that promote farm freshness, farm-rich burritos are closer to a processed convenience product than wholesome food. Consumers seeking nutrition and minimal chemicals would be wiser to opt for freshly prepared options rather than frozen products filled with lab-made fillers and additives. Number 24. Jack's. Jack's frozen burritos are cheap, convenient, and widely available, but the price comes at a cost. In 2019, several batches were recalled after the FDA discovered undeclared allergens, including soy and dairy proteins, which can trigger severe reactions. Even without concerns about allergens, Jack's burritos are loaded with partially hydrogenated oils, sodium phosphate, and emulsifiers that extend shelf life while offering little real nutritional value. Each burrito contains approximately 1,000 milligrams of sodium and 12 grams of saturated fat, and the fillings rely heavily on fillers such as textured vegetable protein and modified starch. Independent lab studies have shown that regular consumption of these additives can contribute to cardiovascular strain, increased blood pressure, and digestive issues. The flavor, artificially seasoned, unevenly cooked, and often leaving a waxy, greasy coating on the tortilla. Marketing might highlight convenience and tasty Mexican flavors, but Jack's burritos are a cautionary tale of what happens when cheap ingredients meet industrial processing. It may satisfy a craving for a quick snack, but your heart and digestive system pay the real price. Number 23. Hillshire Farm. Hillshire Farm's frozen burritos carry the aura of a trusted deli brand, but the convenience comes with hidden dangers. In 2017, Hillshire Brands issued a recall of frozen Mexican-style meals, including burritos, due to potential metal contamination, a serious health risk. Beyond that, the ingredients are heavily processed. Mechanically separated chicken, soy protein isolates, partially hydrogenated oils, and TBHQ, a preservative linked in animal studies to liver stress and oxidative damage. Nutritionally, one burrito contains over 1,000 milligrams of sodium, roughly half the daily limit, and 12 to 15 grams of saturated fat. The tortillas themselves are bleached and fortified with emulsifiers to maintain shape and softness, creating a chemical-heavy shell around the filling. Artificial flavors and colors mask the bland taste of low-quality meat and filler, leaving a greasy aftertaste that lingers long after microwaving. Even though Hillshire Farm markets itself as wholesome and family-friendly, its burritos are closer to a lab creation than a meal. The next time you're craving convenience, consider fresh ingredients. Your arteries, digestive system, and taste buds will thank you. Number 22. Picadillo. Picadillo frozen burritos promise a traditional Latin flavor, but modern convenience often comes at a chemical cost. In 2019, several batches were flagged by local health authorities for undeclared soy and preservatives, prompting temporary removal from shelves. The burritos rely heavily on textured vegetable protein, modified cornstarch, and refined oils to mimic authentic texture and flavor, while hiding the fact that real beef or pork content is minimal. Each burrito packs 900 to 1,100 milligrams of sodium, 13 grams of saturated fat, and chemical additives like sodium phosphate and propionate preservatives, which studies in the Journal of Food Science linked to digestive irritation and long-term cardiovascular strain. The tortillas are overprocessed and stabilized with emulsifiers, leaving an oddly chewy texture. Flavorings are artificially enhanced, producing a strong, salty, greasy taste rather than the rich, savory notes traditional picadillo is known for. Picadillo burritos might look like an easy cultural meal, but in reality, they're a sodium-heavy, chemical-laden convenience product. If you want the real thing, skip the freezer aisle and cook it fresh. Number 21. Elpisa. Elpisa burritos boast authentic Mexican recipes, but frozen convenience comes at a price. In 2020, multiple consumers filed complaints about foreign material contamination, prompting a limited recall in several U.S. states. The burritos themselves contain mechanically separated meat, soy protein isolates, and partially hydrogenated oils, along with preservatives like TBHQ and sodium phosphate. Nutrition experts warn that repeated consumption can raise cholesterol levels and increase cardiovascular risk. Each burrito contains over 950 milligrams of sodium and 13 grams of saturated fat, while the tortilla is chemically treated to maintain its flexibility and extend its shelf life. Artificial flavors create a savory taste, but the texture is uneven, greasy in some parts, dry in others. Independent lab analysis of similar products found that the meat-to-filler ratio is often less than 50%. Meaning most of what you're eating is processed protein and additives. Elpisa's burritos might seem convenient and flavorful, but the reality is chemical-heavy and high sodium. Nostalgia or craving shouldn't come at the expense of your health. Number 20. Don Miguel. Don Miguel frozen burritos are a popular choice for budget-conscious shoppers, but they come with hidden risks. In 2018, a batch of frozen meals was recalled after reports of plastic fragments and foreign material, raising serious safety concerns. The burritos are packed with textured soy protein, hydrogenated oils, and preservatives such as sodium benzoate, plus artificial flavorings designed to mimic authentic beef and cheese. Nutritionally, one burrito contains over 1,000 milligrams of sodium and 15 grams of saturated fat, nearly half of the recommended daily sodium intake for adults. The tortilla is heavily processed, often bleached, and treated with emulsifiers, while the filling is uniform but contains a high chemical content. The taste is artificially savory, with a lingering synthetic aftertaste masking the low-quality ingredients inside. Despite the colorful packaging and marketing claims, Don Miguel burritos are essentially a processed convenience food designed for long shelf life rather than nutrition. For a healthier choice, stick to fresh ingredients and homemade fillings. Your heart, blood pressure, and digestive system will thank you. Number 19. Fiesta. Fiesta frozen burritos may look like a colorful, convenient meal option, but behind the packaging lies a chemical-laden snack. In 2019, several batches were recalled after the FDA flagged potential listeria contamination, raising serious health concerns for older adults and individuals with weakened immune systems. Even without contamination, the ingredients read like a chemistry experiment. Textured soy protein, partially hydrogenated oils, modified starches, and artificial flavorings dominate the filling. Each burrito contains over 1,000 milligrams of sodium and 14 grams of saturated fat, alongside preservatives like TBHQ and sodium phosphate. These compounds have been linked in animal studies to liver stress, oxidative damage, and cardiovascular strain. The tortilla is heavily processed and stabilized with emulsifiers, giving it a uniform, plastic-like texture that masks the synthetic filling. Independent lab tests indicate that the meat-to-filler ratio is minimal, meaning most of what you're eating is soy, chemicals, and fat. Fiesta might promise a quick and tasty Mexican-inspired snack, but in reality, it delivers convenience at the cost of your heart, blood pressure, and long-term health. Number 18. Rancho. Rancho Burritos markets itself as authentic and homemade style, but the truth is far from rustic. In 2020, several batches were recalled due to the presence of undeclared allergens, including soy and milk proteins, which put unsuspecting consumers at risk. The filling is heavy in textured vegetable protein, hydrogenated oils, and modified food starch, with preservatives such as calcium propionate added to extend shelf life. Nutritionally, one Rancho burrito can deliver up to 1,100 milligrams of sodium and 13 grams of saturated fat, nearly half of the daily sodium limit recommended by the American Heart Association. Independent studies suggest that long-term consumption of hydrogenated oils and TBHQ may contribute to metabolic inflammation and cardiovascular stress. Flavor-wise, the filling tastes overly salty and artificial, with the tortilla often greasy and unevenly cooked. Rancho may look like a convenient home-style meal, but it's essentially a high-sodium, chemically stabilized product. If you value your heart and digestive system, skipping this frozen burrito is the wise choice. Number 17. Super Burrito. Super Burrito has long been a staple in the frozen food aisle, promising a filling and satisfying meal. But behind the bold name and cheesy appearance lies a highly processed product. In 2021, consumers reported plastic fragments and freezer burn defects, prompting a voluntary recall from the brand's parent company. The burrito filling is primarily composed of mechanically separated meat, soy protein isolates, hydrogenated oils, and modified starches, resulting in a uniform texture but minimal actual nutrition. Each serving delivers over 1,050 milligrams of sodium and 15 grams of saturated fat, while preservatives ensure long shelf life at the expense of health. Studies in the Journal of Food Science warn that repeated consumption of such ultra-processed snacks can lead to increased blood pressure, contribute to inflammation, and negatively impact heart health. Microwave one and you'll notice an oddly chewy, greasy tortilla encasing a synthetic, overly salty filling. Super Burrito might sound satisfying, but it's convenience engineered for shelf life, not for your arteries or digestive system. Number 16. Quick Bite. Quick Bite frozen burritos may appear to be a convenient snack, but the label reveals a significant amount of processing and additives. In 2019, several batches were voluntarily recalled after reports of plastic contamination and packaging defects. The fillings rely heavily on mechanically separated meat, soy protein isolates, hydrogenated oils, and artificial flavorings, creating a uniform but chemically loaded texture. Each burrito contains over 1,000 milligrams of sodium and 14 grams of saturated fat, along with preservatives such as TBHQ and sodium phosphate, which studies in the Journal of Food Science have linked to inflammation, oxidative stress, and cardiovascular strain. The tortilla is bleached and stabilized with emulsifiers to extend shelf life, leaving a slightly rubbery mouthfeel. Even the cheesy beef flavor is artificially enhanced, masking the lack of real meat or fresh ingredients. Quick Bite markets convenience and satisfaction, but the reality is a highly processed, sodium-rich, and chemically laden meal. For anyone concerned about their heart health or digestive system, skipping Quick Bite is the safer option. Number 15. Casa Burrito. Casa Burrito positions itself as a quick, flavorful option, but frozen convenience often comes with hidden risks. In 2020, several packages were recalled after undeclared allergens, including soy and milk derivatives, were discovered, putting sensitive consumers at risk. The burrito is packed with textured vegetable protein, modified cornstarch, and hydrogenated oils, along with preservatives such as calcium propionate and TBHQ. Nutritionally, one burrito contains over 950 milligrams of sodium and 13 grams of saturated fat, which is almost half of the recommended daily sodium intake. Independent studies highlight that regular consumption of such additives may contribute to metabolic inflammation, blood pressure spikes, and digestive issues. Flavorings are artificially enhanced, while the tortilla remains greasy and rubbery, revealing the heavy processing behind the homemade appearance. Casa Burrito may look appealing and convenient, but its chemical-heavy composition makes it more of a laboratory product than a meal. For heart health, gut integrity, and overall wellness, Homemade alternatives remain far superior. Number 14. Wrap It. Wrap It frozen burritos promise easy meals on the go, but the convenience comes with a cost. In 2018, the FDA issued a voluntary recall after several batches were found to contain plastic fragments, highlighting issues with production oversight. The burrito filling is dominated by mechanically separated meat, soy protein isolates, hydrogenated oils, and flavor enhancers, with preservatives ensuring extended shelf life. Each burrito contains over 1,050 milligrams of sodium and 15 grams of saturated fat, resulting in a high-sodium, high-fat snack that can strain cardiovascular health, particularly in adults over 55. The tortillas are chemically stabilized, giving them an unnaturally soft, sometimes rubbery texture, while the filling's artificial flavor masks the lack of fresh meat or vegetables. Wrap It markets itself as a quick and tasty solution, but in reality, it's a processed, chemically enhanced, sodium-heavy product. Convenience is built at the expense of heart health, digestion, and long-term nutrition. Number 13. Giant burritos. Giant burritos live up to the name in size, but not in health. In 2021, consumers reported finding metallic fragments in some batches, prompting the manufacturer to issue a voluntary recall. Beyond physical safety concerns, the ingredients are highly processed. Textured soy protein, hydrogenated oils, artificial flavors, and modified starches make up most of the filling. Nutritionally, each burrito contains over 1,100 milligrams of sodium, 14 to 16 grams of saturated fat, and preservatives like TBHQ. According to research in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, repeated consumption of such ultra-processed foods may elevate blood pressure, increase inflammatory markers, and disrupt metabolic health. The tortilla is chemically treated for shelf stability, resulting in a plastic-like texture, while the filling is oily, overly salty, and synthetic tasting. Giant burritos may seem satisfying for a quick meal, but what you're really getting is convenience engineered for shelf life, not nutrition. For safer snacking, opting for fresh ingredients and homemade fillings is the way to go. Number 12. Burrito Supremo. Burrito Supremo may sound like the ultimate convenient meal, but it hides a host of issues beneath its bold packaging. In 2020, several batches were voluntarily recalled after foreign metal fragments were discovered during production, a serious safety hazard. The fillings rely heavily on stabilized cheese powders, mechanically restructured meat, and modified starch blends, creating a uniform texture but masking the lack of fresh ingredients. Each burrito contains over 1,000 milligrams of sodium and 12 grams of saturated fat, alongside artificial flavor enhancers that give a savory profile but contribute little nutrition. Independent consumer lab reports noted an oddly waxy aftertaste and inconsistencies in tortilla cooking. Some parts were rubbery, while others were undercooked. Burrito Supremo markets indulgence and convenience, but the reality is that it is highly processed, chemically enhanced, and unevenly prepared. For those seeking genuine nutrition, this frozen option falls far short, serving a quick meal at the cost of texture, flavor, and overall food quality. Number 11. Cuisine. Cuisine frozen burritos promise authentic flavors, but the label hides heavy processing. In 2019, several packages were recalled after reports of plastic contamination surfaced. The filling uses restructured meat, flavor-modified sauces, and stabilizers to mimic homemade texture, while bulk ingredients like dehydrated vegetables reduce freshness and nutritional value. Each burrito delivers 950 to 1,050 milligrams of sodium and 13 grams of saturated fat, making it a high-sodium snack. Independent taste panels highlighted artificial tanginess from concentrated flavor powders and uneven moisture distribution, leaving some parts dry while others were mushy. Cuisine markets itself as fresh and convenient, but in reality, it's a heavily processed frozen product. Quick? Yes. Healthy? No. Number 10. Burrito Factory. Burrito Factory frozen burritos have gained popularity for their large portion sizes. However, safety and quality issues are often hidden behind the label. In 2021, a limited recall was issued after some consumers reported plastic fragments in the filling. Ingredients include mechanically formed beef, dehydrated peppers, and flavor-modified sauces, heavily processed to ensure uniformity across batches. Each burrito contains over 1,100 milligrams of sodium and 14 grams of saturated fat, making it a high-risk choice for older adults who are monitoring their blood pressure or cholesterol levels. Independent reviews reported inconsistent texture, with some tortillas overcooked while fillings remained icy in parts. The flavor relies on artificial spice blends rather than fresh ingredients, giving a chemically enhanced taste. Convenient and filling, yes, but Burrito Factory burritos prioritize shelf-life consistency over nutritional integrity. The frozen convenience comes with high sodium and synthetic flavors, making it a meal you'll regret over time. Number 9. Fresh and easy. Fresh and easy may sound wholesome, but its frozen burritos are deceptively processed. In 2020, several batches were pulled from shelves after reports of freezer-burned packaging defects and inconsistent heating patterns. The fillings include mechanically restructured chicken, dehydrated cheese blends, and stabilizer-thickened sauces, providing uniform texture but minimal real nutrition. Each burrito contains 950 to 1,050 milligrams of sodium and 12 to 13 grams of saturated fat, making it a high-sodium option. Independent culinary testers noted artificially enhanced flavors and uneven moisture, resulting in parts of the burrito being dry and rubbery, while others were mushy. Despite its branding as a convenient, quick meal, Fresh and Easy burritos are a chemically stabilized frozen product. Convenience comes at the cost of flavor, authenticity, texture, and overall food quality. Those seeking genuine nutrition would be better off preparing a fresh tortilla wrap with real, whole ingredients. Number 8. Burrito del Soul. Burrito del Soul markets itself as a fresh taste of Mexico, but behind the packaging lies highly processed convenience. In 2021, several batches were recalled due to mislabeling of allergens, including undeclared dairy and soy, which could trigger severe reactions. The filling relies on restructured meat, dehydrated vegetables, and flavor-enhanced sauces, giving the illusion of a hearty burrito, but with minimal real ingredients. Each burrito contains over 1,050 milligrams of sodium and 14 grams of saturated fat, making it a risk to heart health when consumed regularly. Independent lab tests revealed inconsistent protein distribution in tortillas with rubbery edges, highlighting poor production quality. The flavor is artificially bold, masking the lack of fresh vegetables or authentic meat seasoning. Despite its branding and convenience, Burrito del Soul prioritizes shelf stability and uniform appearance over nutrition and texture. Quick, yes. Wholesome, no. For those seeking real, satisfying flavors without chemical-laden processing, homemade or fresh alternatives are far superior. Number 7. Burrito Express. Burrito Express promises fast and flavorful meals, but the reality is that they are often chemical-heavy convenience foods. In 2020, several batches were voluntarily recalled due to reports of metal fragments and inconsistent heating posing a serious food safety hazard. The filling contains mechanically formed beef, stabilized cheese, giving a uniform appearance but masking the minimal fresh ingredients. Nutritionally, each burrito contains over 1,000 milligrams of sodium and 13 grams of saturated fat, high enough to contribute to long-term cardiovascular strain. Culinary testing highlighted rubbery tortillas and overly salty artificial fillings, which contrast sharply with the homemade branding. Burrito Express markets convenience and satisfaction, but in reality, it's a frozen product engineered for shelf life, not health. Consumers seeking real ingredients, texture, and balanced flavor will find this option lacking, making homemade alternatives the safer choice. Number 6. Rio Grand burritos. Rio Grand burritos may evoke images of hearty Mexican flavors, but frozen convenience masks significant processing. In 2019, several batches were recalled due to foreign object contamination, including metal fragments, highlighting production safety concerns. The fillings include mechanically restructured meat, dehydrated vegetables, and flavor-adjusted sauces, producing a uniform texture but little genuine freshness. Each burrito contains 950 to 1,100 milligrams of sodium and 13 to 15 grams of saturated fat, making it a high-sodium, high-fat snack. Taste testers noted inconsistent heating and a synthetic tang from artificial seasonings, contrasting sharply with the authentic Mexican marketing. Convenient and filling, Rio Grande burritos prioritize uniformity and shelf life over nutrition, flavor, and texture. For heart health, digestion, and authentic taste, homemade burritos remain the superior choice. Number 5. Mexi Bites. Mexi Bites frozen burritos may seem like a quick and tasty solution, but the reality is one of heavily processed convenience. In 2020, several batches were recalled due to mislabeling of allergens, including undeclared milk proteins, putting sensitive consumers at risk. The filling contains mechanically restructured chicken, flavor-enhanced cheese powders, and stabilized rice, creating a uniform but chemically loaded texture. Each burrito contains over 1,000 milligrams of sodium and 14 grams of saturated fat, making it a high-risk choice for those monitoring blood pressure or cholesterol levels. Independent taste panels noted uneven heating, rubbery tortillas, and a flavor dominated by artificial seasonings rather than fresh ingredients. Mexi Bites markets fast convenience and indulgence, but the product delivers a chemically enhanced, high-sodium meal. Number 4. Viva Burrito. Viva Burrito frozen meals promise convenience and authentic flavors, but hidden dangers exist. In 2019, several packages were recalled after reports of packaging defects that caused partial freezer burns and inconsistent cooking. The filling is primarily composed of restructured beef, dehydrated vegetables, and flavor-adjusted sauces, giving a uniform look but lacking genuine freshness. Nutritionally, each burrito contains over 1,050 milligrams of sodium and 13 grams of saturated fat, making it a high-sodium, high-fat snack. Independent reviewers noted that the fillings and tortillas were overly salty and became chewy or soggy after microwaving, highlighting potential production shortcuts. Despite branding that suggests freshness and authenticity, Viva Burrito prioritizes shelf life and visual appeal over nutrition and flavor. For heart health, digestion, and authentic taste, skipping these frozen options in favor of fresh ingredients is the wiser choice. Number 3. Casa Mexicana Burritos. Casa Mexicana burritos promise traditional Mexican flavors, but convenience comes at a chemical cost. In 2021, several batches were recalled due to potential contamination with foreign materials, raising serious safety concerns. The filling contains mechanically restructured pork, flavor-modified cheese, and stabilized rice and beans, giving uniform texture but minimal authentic ingredients. Each burrito contains over 1,100 milligrams of sodium and 14 grams of saturated fat, making it a high-risk choice for cardiovascular and metabolic health. Independent taste testers highlighted artificially enhanced flavors, uneven heating, and tortillas that were rubbery in some sections while undercooked in others. Casa Mexicana burritos may look appealing and authentic, but they are largely chemically stabilized convenience products. Those seeking authentic flavor, texture, and nutritional value will find homemade alternatives far superior. Number 2. La Fiesta Burritos. La Fiesta Burritos may promise a festive, flavorful meal, but the reality is far from celebratory. In 2020, several batches were recalled due to reports of undeclared allergens, including soy and milk, posing serious risks to allergic consumers. The filling is primarily mechanically restructured beef, stabilized cheese powders, and flavor-modified sauces, designed for consistency but lacking fresh ingredients. Each burrito delivers over 1,050 milligrams of sodium and 13 to 14 grams of saturated fat, posing long-term health risks for adults who are monitoring their blood pressure or cholesterol levels. Independent culinary testing highlighted rubbery, unevenly cooked tortillas and fillings with an overly salty, artificial flavor profile. The rice and beans, often heavily dehydrated and chemically stabilized, add little real nutrition. La Fiesta markets convenience and indulgence, but it's essentially a high-sodium, chemically enhanced frozen product. Number 1. Mega Meat Burritos. Mega Meat Burritos claim to offer hearty, protein-packed meals, but appearances are deceiving. In 2021, several batches were recalled due to potential contamination with plastic fragments, a serious safety hazard. The filling relies on mechanically restructured pork and beef blends, flavor-enhanced cheese powders, and stabilized rice, providing a consistent but artificial texture. Each burrito contains over 1,100 milligrams of sodium and 15 grams of saturated fat, making it a high-risk snack for cardiovascular and metabolic health. Independent testing revealed uneven heating, rubbery tortillas, and overly salty, chemically flavored fillings. Despite its hearty meal branding, Mega Meat Burritos prioritize shelf life and uniformity over fresh ingredients or nutrition. Convenient, yes. Safe and wholesome, no. For those who care about authentic taste, texture, and health, homemade burritos remain far superior to this frozen, chemically engineered alternative. But don't worry, it's not all bad news. There are actually some frozen burrito brands that are simple, natural, and free from unnecessary additives. Beginning with number 15, Lily Bee's Organic Burrito. Lily Bee's Organic Burritos offer a rare frozen option that truly prioritizes clean eating. Made with certified organic ingredients, these burritos feature real vegetables, whole grains, and minimally processed proteins, avoiding the synthetic fillers and chemical stabilizers common in conventional frozen burritos. Each burrito contains moderate sodium and healthy fats, sourced from natural oils, making it suitable for older adults who are monitoring their blood pressure or heart health. The tortillas are made from whole grain flour, resulting in a soft, satisfying texture without any artificial bleaching agents. Independent nutrition reviews highlight the balance of fresh flavors and wholesome ingredients, with fillings like organic beans, free-range chicken, and natural spices providing genuine taste, rather than relying on artificial flavor enhancers. Lily Bee's burritos also avoid hydrogenated oils, preservatives, and flavor-modified powders, making them one of the safest choices for frozen meals. Number 14. Cedar Lane Natural Foods Burrito. Cedar Lane Natural Foods Burritos stand out in the frozen aisle for their emphasis on minimally processed, all-natural ingredients. The brand avoids artificial preservatives, flavor enhancers, and synthetic additives, instead using whole vegetables, organic beans, and responsibly sourced meats. Each burrito contains well-balanced sodium levels and low saturated fat, making it a heart-friendly frozen option. The tortillas are made with simple grains and water, free of chemical stabilizers, giving a naturally soft and chewy texture. Independent taste panels praise the burritos for their vivid, fresh flavor profiles, roasted vegetables, real seasoned meats, and authentic spices that taste homemade rather than artificially enhanced. The fillings are consistent, with even moisture and texture, avoiding the rubbery or mushy feel common in processed frozen burritos. For those seeking a safe, wholesome frozen option, Cedar Lane proves that convenience and nutrition can coexist. These burritos are ideal for anyone seeking a fast and tasty meal without compromising on quality. Number 13. Hillary's Eat Well Burrito. Hillary's Eat Well Burritos are designed with health-conscious eaters in mind, offering frozen meals that are clean, wholesome, and satisfying. Each burrito features non-GMO, plant-based ingredients, including vegetables, beans, and grains, without relying on artificial flavorings or processed fillers. The sodium content is moderate, typically under 500 milligrams per serving, and the fat comes from healthy, naturally derived oils, making it a safe option for heart-conscious consumers. The tortillas are soft, whole grain, and free from chemical bleaching or stabilizers, maintaining natural texture and flavor. Independent reviews highlight balanced seasoning and natural flavors, with fillings that retain a fresh, just-made taste, even after microwaving. Hillary's Eat Well Burritos avoid common pitfalls like rubbery tortillas, synthetic cheese powders, and processed meats, providing a truly wholesome convenience meal. Number 12. Dr. Prager's Burrito. Dr. Prager's Burritos bring a nutrition-first approach to frozen meals, focusing on real, whole ingredients. Each burrito contains vegetables, whole grains, and high-quality proteins, without artificial flavors, colors, or chemical stabilizers. The fillings use fresh-tasting ingredients like black beans, brown rice, and seasoned meats or plant proteins, avoiding fillers common in conventional frozen burritos. Sodium levels are moderate, and fats are sourced from heart-healthy oils, making them a safe choice for adults who are monitoring their cardiovascular health. The tortillas are soft and whole grain, offering a satisfying bite without the rubberiness or excessive processing often found in other tortillas. Independent nutritional analysis praises Dr. Prager's for retaining authentic flavor and texture after freezing, providing a taste experience close to homemade. Unlike chemically enhanced competitors, these burritos rely on natural seasoning blends and fresh vegetables, making them a safe, convenient, and nutritious option for a frozen meal. For consumers who value wholesome ingredients, flavor, and heart-friendly nutrition, Dr. Prager's burritos are a standout choice in the frozen aisle. Number 11. Alpha Foods Plant-Based Burrito. Alpha Foods plant-based burritos are crafted for plant-forward eaters seeking convenience without compromise. Each burrito is packed with real vegetables, plant proteins, and whole grains, utterly free from artificial flavors, colors, and chemical stabilizers. The tortillas are soft and whole grain, offering satisfying chew without rubbery textures standard in processed frozen foods. Independent taste panels highlighted fresh, robust flavors with a natural balance of spices, beans, and vegetables that feel homemade. Alpha Foods avoids fillers, hydrogenated oils, and heavily processed protein powders, instead focusing on authentic, plant-based ingredients that provide genuine nutritional value. Number 10. Plant Pure Frozen Burrito. Plant-pure frozen burritos prioritize clean ingredients and minimally processed fillings. Featuring whole grains, beans, and vegetables, these burritos avoid artificial flavors, preservatives, and stabilizers. Independent testers praise the balanced seasoning and freshness of the fillings. The beans, vegetables, and grains retain texture, while the burrito avoids rubbery, mushy, or chemically enhanced components. Plant-pure burritos deliver convenience without sacrificing nutrition, flavor, or quality. For consumers seeking a quick, wholesome, and chemical-free frozen meal, Plant-pure is a standout choice that brings real, clean ingredients to the frozen aisle. Number 9. Artisan Beastro Burrito. Artisan Beastro burritos offer a gourmet approach to frozen meals, emphasizing high-quality ingredients without chemical additives. Each burrito features sustainably sourced meats, fresh vegetables, and whole grains, avoiding artificial flavors, stabilizers, or preservatives. The tortillas are tender and chewy, maintaining consistency without over-processing. Culinary reviews highlighted the depth of flavor and authentic seasoning, with balanced ingredients that mimic a freshly prepared burrito. Artisan Beastro avoids heavily processed meats and flavor powders, ensuring a genuinely wholesome frozen meal. For those craving high-quality frozen convenience without chemical compromises, Artisan Beastro burritos provide a safe, flavorful, and satisfying option. Number 8. Blake's Organic Burrito. Blake's Organic Burrito is for those who refuse to compromise on quality. Every bite bursts with organic beans, vegetables, and responsibly sourced proteins, wrapped in a soft, whole-grain tortilla that holds up perfectly after heating. What makes it stand out? It's simple, clean, and honest. No preservatives, no artificial flavors, no chemical stabilizers, just ingredients you can recognize and trust. Taste testers highlight the natural, vibrant flavor, earthy beans, tender vegetables, and perfectly balanced seasoning. Unlike many frozen meals, it doesn't rely on heavy processing or artificial enhancement to taste good. If you're looking for a frozen burrito that feels homemade and wholesome, Blake's Organic Burrito delivers. Convenient, safe, and genuinely satisfying, it's proof that frozen meals can still be a smart, healthy choice. Number 7. Wildscape Whole Food Burrito. Step into the world of Wildscape Whole Food Burritos, where frozen convenience meets real, wholesome ingredients. Unlike ordinary frozen meals, these burritos are packed with whole grains, fresh vegetables, and high-quality proteins, providing a satisfying meal that feels genuinely home-cooked. Each burrito contains heart-healthy fats derived from natural oils, making it a safe choice even for those monitoring their blood pressure or cholesterol levels. The tortillas are soft yet sturdy, holding up beautifully after microwaving, never rubbery or soggy. Independent taste reviewers praise the vivid flavors and texture, noting that beans stay tender, vegetables retain their bite, and proteins have authentic seasoning, all without artificial flavors or chemical stabilizers. Even the packaging reflects care, designed to preserve freshness without shortcuts. For anyone craving healthy, convenient, and genuinely tasty frozen burritos, Wildscape is a standout option. It's not just a frozen meal. It's a wholesome, satisfying experience you can trust. Number 6. Tattooed Chef Burrito. Tattooed Chef burritos are a celebration of plant-based convenience with integrity. Each burrito blends whole grains, beans, and vegetables into a harmonious filling, free from artificial flavors, preservatives, or chemical stabilizers. With moderate sodium and healthy fats sourced naturally, these burritos are a wise choice for heart-conscious eaters. The tortillas have a satisfying chew and maintain texture, even after heating. Food critics highlighted the vibrant, fresh-tasting flavors that every bite bursts with, thanks to natural seasoning, perfectly cooked beans, and crisp vegetables. Unlike conventional frozen burritos, there's no rubbery texture or overwhelming artificial taste. Each burrito feels crafted with care, not shortcuts from a factory. For those who want fast, plant-powered meals without compromise, Tattooed Chef delivers. It's frozen convenience, elevated, nutritious, safe, and truly flavorful. Number 5. Cool Beans Vegan Burrito. Cool Beans Vegan Burritos redefine what a plant-based frozen meal can be. Bursting with whole grains, beans, and fresh vegetables, these burritos avoid chemical additives, stabilizers, and artificial flavors, delivering pure, clean nutrition. Each burrito offers moderate sodium and fats from natural oils, keeping it heart-friendly. The tortillas are soft yet resilient, holding the filling without collapsing or becoming mushy, a rare feat in frozen meals. Taste testers love the authentic, vibrant flavors of perfectly seasoned beans, fresh-tasting vegetables, and a texture that feels homemade. It's convenience without compromise. A frozen burrito that's nutritious, satisfying, and safe, proving that plant-based frozen meals don't have to be bland or heavily processed. For anyone seeking quick, wholesome, and genuinely flavorful vegan meals, Cool Beans stands out as a reliable, safe, and delicious choice. Number 4. Deep Indian Kitchen Burrito. Ever wondered what happens when Indian spices meet frozen convenience? Deep Indian Kitchen Burrito is your answer. Bite into it, and the aroma of cumin, coriander, and turmeric hits you instantly like a homemade curry rolled into a burrito. It's not just flavor. The lentils, vegetables, and whole grains are thoughtfully chosen, free from chemical stabilizers or artificial preservatives. Sodium sits at a moderate 450 milligrams, enough for taste without overloading your heart. The tortilla? Soft, warm, and slightly chewy. No rubbery disaster here. Nutritionists applaud the balance. Protein-rich lentils, fiber-packed vegetables, and just the right touch of healthy oil. Even independent taste testers say it tastes like someone actually cooked it yesterday, not just frozen. For movie nights or quick lunches, Deep Indian Kitchen delivers convenience without compromise, making it a safe, flavorful, and culturally rich frozen burrito. Number 3. Luvo Frozen Burrito. Luvo doesn't do boring. This burrito is a mini nutrition lab in your freezer. Open a bag, and you're greeted with vivid, fresh colors, beans, grains, and tender proteins, all cooked and seasoned just right. Unlike typical frozen meals, Luvo avoids fillers and artificial flavor bombs. Fats come from natural oils, and the tortillas hold up perfectly in the microwave. What really stands out? The texture journey, soft beans, slightly crisped vegetables, and a tortilla that actually tastes like real bread. Nutritionists note it's a safe choice even for adults managing cholesterol or blood pressure. If convenience, health, and flavor could meet in one burrito, Luvo is the matchmaker. Quick, wholesome, and satisfying. It proves that frozen doesn't have to mean compromised. Number 2. Frontera Gourmet Burrito. Frontera Gourmet Burrito brings restaurant vibes straight from your freezer. Think smoky peppers, perfectly seasoned beans, and tender meats wrapped in a tortilla that's soft but resilient. Its charm? Authentic flavors with clean ingredients. No preservatives, no chemical enhancers. Sodium is around 450 milligrams. Heart-friendly fats, and no mystery powders, just good ingredients doing their job. Food critics love it for its bold, multi-layered flavor journey. Each bite tells a story. First the smoky, then the savory, and finally the subtle spice finish. The tortilla folds perfectly, holding everything together without becoming too soft or mushy. For those who crave gourmet tastes at home, Frontera is a convenient, safe, and genuinely delicious frozen meal option finally done right. Number 1. Primal Kitchen Burrito. Primal Kitchen Burrito is all about nutrition-first frozen meals. With grass-fed protein, fresh vegetables, and whole grains, it's the type of burrito that makes you feel smart for grabbing it. What sets it apart? Healthy fats from avocado and olive oils, moderate sodium and tortillas that stay soft but never soggy. The flavor is bold yet natural, no chemical shortcuts, just real, clean ingredients. Independent testers rave about the freshness retained even after freezing. Every bite is a balanced combination of protein, vegetables, and seasoning, creating a hearty and satisfying experience. For those who value health, taste, and convenience, Primal Kitchen Burrito is a standout. Safe, flavorful, and genuinely wholesome, a frozen burrito you can trust.